Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Rachel, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another conspiracy theory video. I love conspiracies. They're my favorite thing ever. I spend hours all the time like watching conspiracy theory videos and like searching up like details and like conspiracies because I just freaking love them so much. So I'm going to be doing a conspiracy theory video all about Avril Lavigne because she's blowing up on Twitter and Instagram and everyone is talking about her. I have all the information pulled up on my computer and I'm going to be reading this, and I'm no way saying this is true. It's just a theory and I'm just providing it for you guys because I thought it was really interesting. And sorry if you can see my orange hands. I applied self-tanner with no gloves and they turned orange because I'm a dumbass and forgot to put on gloves. So that's why they're a little bit orange, but other than that, let's get started with the conspiracy theory. I'll put like the whole thread down below if you guys want to read it. States that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and a lookalike / clone has been living in her place since then. She starts relatively simply talking more about the artist's background and how she had a lookalike pose for paparazzi in her place, and she got overwhelmed by the attention following her second record. The first clue or whatever indicating that it's a clone is just her music in general. I will play a song from 2002 here and then one from 2014, and as you guys can hear, they're two completely different songs. Like, they don't sound anything alike, and obviously it's like a big time gap in between like the first and second song that I'm showing you guys, but it's nothing alike. Like, before, her music was all like, you know, pop, and now it's like weird shit about like Hello Kitty and stuff.
He was a skater boy, she said see you later boy. He wasn't good enough for her. Mina psycho arigato, kawaii.
And yes, you can obviously like change your genre of music, but it's just like so different, so I'm just like, A little bit background information about Avril Lavigne if you don't know her. She was born in Ontario, Canada in 1984, and her first album was Let Go, was released in 2002 when she was 18. Up until this point, she was so used to being able to live a normal life, and now that she was famous, she couldn't handle the paparazzi, which makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of celebrities like just stay at home because they can't handle the paparazzi, or they like set them up to go to a different location if they're not there, so they like don't actually follow them. So here is a collage of Avril Lavigne. She's on the left and then her lookalike on the right. They look very similar, as you can tell, so obviously like the paparazzi would think if the lookalike was running around as Avril, that was her because they are almost identical looking. Her name is Melissa Vandella and they quickly became best friends. An unknown source says that Melissa and Avril were in the studio one day hanging out and they thought it would be funny to teach Melissa how to sing and sound like Avril. So moving on to 2003, Melissa was still working for Avril and Avril was about to start working on her next album. Tragically, Avril's grandfather passed away and it hurt her so much. He was her best friend and her biggest supporter, so they were really close, her grandpa and her. So I can imagine the toll it would take on her. Like, that's like your best friend dying, or a really close relative like your mom, your dad, like, and they're really close. So imagine how much pain and suffering Avril was going through at this time. She basically lost it. She was so distraught, crying on stage, and in interviews she would lock herself in her apartment and write for weeks on end. She finally finished the songs for the next album, and if you heard that album, you know what I mean when I say it's depressing. And if you go and listen to the album, it is depressing music. Yes, like, it's sad, not as like upbeat and like you know, like hip-hop, whatever, as her album before, her first album, Let Go. So obviously she was going through something during the time writing this album. Why did I sound like I was 6 years old there? Ew. She recorded those songs, having to frequently take breaks in between sessions to cry and calm down. She was absolutely heartbroken, as you can imagine. Like I said, like, that's her best friend dying. Like, I don't even know how she could write and record, because if my best friend died or a close relative, I would lose my mind and I would literally be sitting in my bed all day staring at walls because I was so freaking distraught and heartbroken over such a tragic death. Other sources even said she threatened to kill herself and tried to attempt several times because she felt she couldn't go on without him. And the next part of the theory is that she actually succeeded, and it said that Avril hung herself in late 2003. Like I said, this is not, like, we don't know if this is true, this is just a conspiracy theory, and if she did commit suicide, we don't know that she actually did hang herself or hung herself. Now, if you're alive during this time, you know Avril was everywhere. Everyone knew her name. She was the punk princess. And I was very young at this time, like 2003, like I was like a baby. But I knew that she was very like up and famous and all that. Like she was like the it punk rock, as the article says. And she was at the peak of her career. So it said that instead of letting the news of her dying go into the media, they used her look-alike to like replace her and go in her place so she could still like get famous and progress with her career, because at this time it was her peak of her career. So her career was just starting, she was just starting to get big and famous in the media. So they used her look-alike to live on the rest of Avril Lavigne's life as her. They already had Avril's recordings of the second album, so they decided to release it. Her second album was released and it was actually Avril's voice, so they didn't worry about Melissa having to sing just yet. And a lot of Avril's birthmarks she had before are gone, and she also had the same tattoo that Melissa has. And once this theory was brought to her attention in an interview, she was very shaky and nervous in the interview. She was trying to play it off as a joke and saying things like, well, I'm here, so that's not true, and all of that, but then she performed after the interview and she was stumbling on and off stage and messing up her words. So that basically concludes this conspiracy theory video. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Avril Lavigne has been replaced with Melissa? Do you think she's still alive and she just switched her music genre and everything like that? Do you think it's a clone? Whatever, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this conspiracy theory video, and if you want me to do more, let me know down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Done though!